Okay, cool. So this One Punch Man 138 Into the Abyss was, well, it was that chapter, wasn't it? It was the chapter. It was really good. It was beautiful. It was outstanding. What I said about 137 was it was like a 9 out of 10 because it did a lot for the story and for the world, but its lacking was a bit of comedy and a bit of Saitama, and I'm like, this is where it makes up for it. So this chapter's probably a 10 out of 10. A 10 out of 10 for me is a chapter ranking I try not to give very often. Like, most of the time, I'm quite happy to give 9 out of 10, but 10 out of 10 has to be like peak of a series, you know, like this is like one of the best the series can do, and I think this chapter is one of those. I'm going to start straight away. I try and cover these in chronological order, basically what happens in order of the chapter that way. However, I've been thinking about this for the past few hours, and obviously this is a massive, massive point. Let's talk about the man or the being in the center of the earth. When I read that, I did my reaction to it, but I did just lie down for like 20 minutes, just trying to process what I saw. You know, I didn't know what it was, so I had to think about it. And ultimately, okay, so first of all, let's talk about the cube as well, because the cube's important to this part of the story too. So, Saitama finds the cube that we last saw with Blast, so we can assume that Blast probably kept hold of the cube. Like, we don't know why he had the cube, but for some reason, that cube is super important. Also, another parallel between Saitama and Blast is they're both incredibly strong, and like that's not just, and we know obviously Blast is strong, but there's a parallel straight there from Saitama by them both holding the cube pretty easily. Well, just easy, like it's nothing, and we see very quickly that an average person, someone of like Monaco's level, who we're going to assume is, or Oculette even, is an average level, like who's probably just about as strong as me or you, can't lift this cube at all. It's big, it's dense, it's super dense and heavy. So I guess the real question to see about this cube, I guess like the weight of it, would be just to see if someone weaker than Saitama but stronger than the average person, so pretty much Genos, Puri, Tank Top, Dark Shine, could lift this. However, I imagine we're not going to see the cube again for a while after this, and I'll talk about this because obviously Tatsumaki lifts the Monster Association to turn it into a big weapon to finish off Sairochi, and there's nothing there as far as we can see. Also, love the cover on this one, so clever, because you think, oh, it's just the gang chilling out. No, it's actually the build-up for this massive reveal at the end, of course, because they look in and there's a being there who's curled up in the fetal position. There's like space around them as well, and they're very heavily shaded. They obviously don't look like a great person, like they don't look like a hero would, you know. They don't look like a being of good. They look like a being of evil. And okay, here's my idea of what's going on with that. So I think the being is Blast. Now, obviously, Saitama, like I said, with the cube, the last person we saw with the cube was Blast, so maybe this is Blast who has become monsterized, and maybe the cube, obviously there's something to do with the cube that's super important. Like, the cube is so important that Blast has kept it with him this whole time, and maybe it's because of this that, I know this, like, I don't really have an art, this sounds like absolute fan garbage, because it is fan garbage, is, of course, we then see about how basically, I think he's held onto it for those reasons, because it's super important and he can't let anyone else have it. And maybe he's reclused himself because he started to monsterize. Maybe he failed in some way, in a similar way to a Mind Mask, how he's got a monster inside of him. Maybe Blast did something too, because maybe that's what the difference is between Saitama and Blast, is Blast failed in some way to be a hero, and like that was his regret. And maybe, I've seen God thrown around a lot by the community, so maybe this is God. Maybe Blast is God, I don't know. That's kind of my general idea. However, one thing I think that is going to be super cool about the story, if they take it this way, is there's a very realistic chance that no one will know about this. And this is what I'm really excited about. So, basically, obviously, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how the three are going to react to this. Now, also, if this is God, I'll quickly say about this, if this is God, it could very well be, but God tends to show itself in times of need, like basically when times of need, you know, when a human is at their lowest, God gives them the power to rise, obviously in an evil way, but that's what God did. That's what he did with Homus Emperor, that's what he did with Psychos and Orochi, that's what they're doing here, that's what they could be doing here. So I also asked the question a while ago why God doesn't do anything, and maybe the reason God doesn't do anything is because it can't do anything yet. So the idea is God could be there because it's in the fetal position. It might be a being who's waiting to be born, not ready yet to come out to the world and show what it can do. And maybe that's what God is doing. It's channeling its energy here and there to make until it can come out and show what it can do. That's just an idea, at least. Whereas, you know, it's so vague, but that's what's so great about it. I'm going off track a bit from what I was going to say, but it's just what really works so well about this thing is, like, it's a mystery. I recently, like, I was going to be like in this video, webcomic readers, don't tell me what this is, you know, I don't want to know. And they don't know either. They don't have a clue about this. So, if you have your own theories below, that's fine. I'd love to hear them, but once again, I want to be very clear, no webcomic spoilers. Please, no webcomic spoilers, guys. This is massive, and, like, basically, if there's something that might give you an idea of what this is in the webcomic, I don't want to hear about it, you know? Like, you guys should talk with webcomic readers by all means about this. It's huge, but but please respect I'm a manga reader. I know, and to be fair, people are great about this. Like, you guys are always really respectful of the fact I'm a manga reader, and I have very, very little issue with people who just read webcomic stuff and spoil that. Like, it's minuscule, the spoilers I get from that, but I just like to reiterate, just in case someone on the off chance finds this. So, what I wanted to get back to about the whole man in the earth is, I don't think that after this arc, this is going to go anywhere. More in the sense of, like, oh god, obviously, we know about this, the audience, this is information for us to know about, this is big. Not only big because obviously the size of the man, but just generally, what is this, what does this mean for the world? But I think, then, like, this is pure speculation, that this won't go anywhere. Like, as in, like, the world of One Punch Man. So, the three people who discovered it are Saitama, Flashy Flash, and Oculette. And first of all, let's go for Flashy first of all. I think it'd be interesting if after this arc, they found out about what Flashy's been doing. They found out about, you know, his secret assassinations he's been causing on the underworld. Maybe the Hero Association will have a problem with that. Maybe they'll be like, we hire you to fight monsters, not to fight criminals. Not even that, just like, if it's criminals, you should bring them under arrest. You shouldn't kill them. And maybe they'll have a problem with that. So when he goes to tell them about, like, you know, oh, there's this giant man in the center of the earth. You know, like, they're going to be like, well, what are you on about? Especially if they investigate it and they can't see anyone's there. And, like, just like how he wasn't there originally, but now for some reason he's there. Also, there's galaxies around it, which was very similar to, like, when Sairochi said about God before. That's why I think a lot of people were saying God too, which I fully get, is because last time we saw, like, God, it was probably what Sairochi did when she got her power, and it was like the evil sun. So if Flashy went to tell someone about this, obviously they can't see it, they might not believe what he's saying. Like, well, do you have any other eyewitnesses that can collaborate this information? Oh, yes, Kate Baldy was there. Oh, Kate Baldy, you mean the hero who is renowned for lying and cheating to get his way up the ranks? No. Well, Oculette was there, a monster, the enemy of the Hero Association. You see what I'm getting at there? Like, there's no way, I feel like this thing isn't going to be there forever. It's not like it's just going to be chilling at the bottom of ZC underneath the Monster Association forever. Saitama's story won't collaborate, and I will Oculette's. And even if Saitama, and you might be like, well, what about Saitama? What if he tells someone? The only person who would probably believe him would be Genos on this one. Unless, of course, other people have seen things like this too. Unless, like, of course, they're like, well, I've had an experience with this. But what I mean is Genos is his most trusted. He's like, his word is gospel, right? However, Genos does not believe everything Saitama says, you know? Genos is, you know, he doesn't believe his workout routine, how he got that strong. When it's only it's like a small bonus, like it's made for comedy more than anything. It's when Saitama jumped back from the moon, he's like, oh, I found this rock when I jumped to the moon, and Genos just looks at him like, that's amazing, Sensei, wow. He himself, like, idolizes Saitama, but he doesn't believe everything he says. Which is understandable, because the way Saitama does everything is incredible. And it's unbelievable, really. So, look, if Genos doesn't believe him, I don't know who will. Unless, like, I don't know, well, it'd have to be someone who else has experienced this, you know? So, unless, like, someone like Homus Emperor lives, or Psychos lives, and for some reason they get talking, then that's the only like, viable thing, you know? So that's what I think is going to be super interesting about this, is there's no proof. There'll be no proof of this whatsoever. I'm like, of course, now this all depends on how the story goes from here. Like, we don't even know how Saitama's going to react to this, you know? Like, they've just witnessed this thing there, and like, I'm struggling for words, because there's so little we know about this. The fact it just showed up out of nowhere, the space theme. Of course, there's also the stuff with the moon, which is pretty interesting, because when Tatsumaki goes for her to get her big attack ready, once again, the moon is in full display in the background, and oh gosh. Maybe it's something to do with the moon. Maybe there's a being inside the moon for all we know, you know? And maybe that's what the power is because, like, I don't know. Maybe there's something there with the moon too. Like, obviously the moon is a concern of mine now, but... And also, is this what Metal Knight's worried about? Does Metal Knight know about this? Is that it? Is that the real threat that Metal Knight's worried about? Because as we know, he wasn't concerned about the Monster Association. They weren't the threat. He said there was someone more concerning. That's the reason he didn't go. You know, I thought it was because, years ago now, I thought it was because he was scared of Orochi. I was proved wrong. Thanks to Zonin, who pointed it out to me. I always assumed that it was because of Orochi. He was like, oh, I can't fight Orochi now, I'll lose. But now it might be he has an idea who this being is, you know, and that's what he's genuinely concerned about, which would make him have ties to Blast, and it was really good. It's the big mystery. It's like, One Piece fans, it's like when we found the massive straw hat at the Reverie. It's like that to me. It's so, it's so good, and okay, I think I've rambled long enough. I just wanted to get my thoughts about the man in the center of the earth. I don't, man in the center of the earth, the MCE, if you want. I don't know. This is a big old mystery. And why did he show up? I mean, could it be, like, if it is God, and we know it comes at the lowest point, is it because Garo is now about to monsterize, you know? Like, he's about to get to that point where he's given it all up. And maybe it's to do with the despair of, like, Orochi finally going, and maybe the cadres are doing something there too. I don't know. Okay, I think I'm done. I think. But I hope I've got you thinking about some stuff for the future too, at least. Now I'll talk about the rest of the chapter, which was even if you left that bit out, it'd still just be a really cool chapter. It's just, I mean, how'd you top that? I don't know. Like, we'll see what the rest of the song's got going for it, you know. Cool. So talking about the rest of the chapter, yeah, it's just good stuff all around. Like, it's just everyone gets a moment to shine. There's some cool this, and like every double spread I think in this is so good. You know, everyone looks awesome and done in the best way. So obviously it carries on from last time, and I was proven vastly wrong. There's sometimes I wonder if Murata just looks at me and goes, "Oh, gonna finish him off, are we? Sorry, the redraw's gonna be a bit delayed now because of we have to prove this guy wrong because." Obviously the blast hits, like, boom, there we go, that's it. So she's done, bye-bye. And then afterwards it's like, actually no, she actually, which I guess kind of, because she's not technologically, so like, obviously she's not machinery, she's flesh, she's living. So instead of her actually like just bursting through, she kind of like absorbed the impact like into herself. Which I guess kind of makes sense, like trying to break it down, because Orochi's whole thing was he could adapt very quickly to situations, so if he's been taking, obviously, blasts from other people as well, he went, okay, I'll adapt, so I can at least absorb this, so they go to carve out, they literally carve an X in her back, and then at that point she's like, right, that's it, launches it back at him, and I'm like, damn, okay, that sucks. She goes, for that moment where she goes to strike, and who saves the day? My boy. Tank Top Master. If there's someone who's moved up so massively, I think, like, ever since he came back from the hospital with Moomin, I'm like, I love this guy. Everything he's doing, he's doing everything he can, and it's amazing. Just like, I'm such a fanboy for him at this point. He just throws rocks, and I'm just clapping away, like, yay! So, as it carries on, she goes to do the attack, Tank Top blocks it, and that's when Genos and Drive Knight have that little conversation. One thing that is interesting, of course, is they have the same type of core. Wow, what a coincidence. It'd be weird if Drive Knight, who appears to have some ties to the organisation, and Genos, his creator, Dr. Kuseno, well, they use the same core. They must shop at the same place. That's gotta be it, right? Genos request cooperation, you know, my core's at its limit and I can guess yours as well. I request that we basically, he's like, yo, let's combine. And I wasn't thrilled about this at first because, if you know, I'm pretty shady about Drive Knight. He's very cool, however, he's shady and I'm like, oh, no, don't like this. Don't like this one bit. And I'm sure it was going to be cool, but I was like, I guess it just depended on the character, because I tried to think about like if it did with a different character. So say for example, instead of Drive Knight it was doing this, say for example it was Brave Giant and Genos holding off, right? And then Child Emperor was like, Genos, my power's low, please lend me your core, let's combine. I would freak out if Genos and Brave Giant combined. But these two, I was like, okay, that's fine. And even like their introduction panel, I was like, oh, okay, that looks alright, I guess. But then it was the double spread, I was like, that's it. That's what I need to see. That's what it was, because they gave it a name as well, and it was just amazing. It goes with the shogi thing of like you can actually promote your pieces and that. So when he shows up, it's also because Genos looked like he had a hood over him, and I was like, I don't know if I like that. But when Genos is at the top, the massive sword swinging down with the lightning crackling from it, promoted rug. That was it. I was like, okay, this is sick. I can't deny. I'll say it once again, incredibly shady character, Drive Knight, but very cool. Also, going back to Tank Top, one of the reasons I love him is just because Fubuki did the same thing. Like, the comedy is back in this chapter, and that's one reason I think it's there, is because the, like, Tank Top's just funny because of his belief in the Tank Top. So, obviously, when Fubuki, like, did what she did to Baron Bomb, just to, like, make it easier for him, she was like, wow, you made my Tank Top more comfortable. Thank you, Blizzard of Power. You truly are amazing. He's like, I didn't do anything. What's the other about? It's just so good. And then, of course, that was the opening that they needed, because Tank Top then throws a building. I was like, yes, Tank Top, you go for it. And then, you know, what I like is, of course, back to Orochi's adaptability, it works. There's all, she has, like, this kind of, she has, like, a more, like, monstrous form, like, compared to, like, a xenomorph, like, in terms of how it looks, a bit like she's got heels, and then, like, she changed from, like, a jet to kind of, like, a humanoid form. It's brief. I'd like to see more detail of that, but we're not seeing that ever again, are we? As Tank Top threw that, she was like, oh, I'll get it, like, a blast from the back. Then all of a sudden, it was sick. Like, it's so good. Like, I wish I could add more, but like, just everyone shined, you know? Atomic Samurai needed the victory, you know? He needed the victory. He needed the victory, and he got one. Because he showed up, he sliced the beam, the three boys look so good charging forward like that, you know? They just look really good. It's really well done. Obviously he gets his new move like that. We see the beeline slash, so instead of doing like lots of little slashes, I'm guessing it's just one pure atomic slash, one true atomic slash. Someone would call it a focused atomic slash, wouldn't they? He obviously goes for that, and then after that, it's like time and time again. After each bit, they just build it up more and more. So it's like, Atomic got the hit, and you're like, that's it, that's it, she's done. And then he's like, nah, Puri's coming in for the hits. The JOJO rush. JOJO's been a bit on my brain, as you might have guessed by the intro, but Puri just made it there as well. Like, oh, just a flurry of blows, and then afterwards with Dark Shine, just everyone like constantly one-upping it, you know? Like, you think it's done with Atomic, then Puri comes in like, okay, that's go away. Dark Shine in his massive form with the Super Alloy Missile, that's good. Then the two boys come in, Bang and Bomb, come in, and you're like, what? Did not see this. Did not see the Cross Dragon Slayer Fist coming in to finish her off. Because it didn't, because Tatsumaki shows up, and she just, how can you not love Tatsumaki after this chapter? She's just like, she was done, you know, she was gone, and that was it. And now she just lifted up the Monster Association, and it's there, and she's energizing it. She's going to finish off Orochi. Psycho's got away, as we see, like she ditched Orochi. Orochi's just like a bubbling mess on the floor, and Tatsumaki's gonna throw like an energy spear made of the Monster Association just at him, and then that's it. Like, this is the end of Orochi. He's done a lot for the story, at least. I guess he's made, it's in a good way, he's made them realise teamwork makes the dream work. But an interesting monster all the same. And hopefully with this now, we can actually move on to some other fights. Like, I think this fight's amazing, and I love that all the S-Class heroes got to work together, got to their moment, except for Pig God. I wish Pig God had done something in this chapter, to be honest. I mean, like, there's not a lot he could have done. What would he do? Like, taken a bite of Sairochi, you know? Oh, by the way, of course, Drive Knight took a piece when all was said and done. Drive Knight was like, that's it, I'm having that, thank you. Took a piece of Sairochi, so it will be interesting to see how he incorporates that technology, especially someone who's like that kind of adaptability into like future technology, because or at least like it's like gonna be like an Orochi style form or a Slide Orochi style form. Who knows? Because he's obviously got like a jet form, he's got like a battle form, he's got multiple. I'm interested to see how he develops this into future stuff at the very least. Don't trust him though. And of course, I think that's mostly it. But what I was saying before is the comedy's here, and that's what I love. Like, Saitama and Flashy are such a funny duo, you know? Like, you know, Flashy thinks he's better than Saitama, but also he's not afraid, but like, obviously he's not, but he's not afraid to give it back to him, and that's what's so good about this, is like, you know, they're just the back and forth of it all. Of course, like, when they're like, no, my arm, they'll get crushed, and then it's obviously the reveal it's not his arm at all, it's the sword. He wouldn't let go of his sword. His sword's named Insta-Kill, which is incredible. Of course, he's got an edgy name like that. And on a small note, I guess Flashy is kind of handicapped because he doesn't have his sword in the future. However, we do know from what we've seen of him, like, he can fight without a sword, of course, he's shown the kicks, but also, if he's like Sonic, he's probably got other ninja tools. Maybe he's got like special shuriken, maybe he's got special, like, I don't know, like a sickle and chain, or whatever, like other ninja tools. It'd be cool to see him fight differently for him, but obviously, he's better, like, he's best with a sword from what we've seen. His sword is like his key weapon, so he's gonna need a sword back somehow. But it's done, like, his sword's wrecked, and I like those too, so basically, to sum up, I don't think there's much else to talk about with the chapter, just obviously everything with the cube and the man, essentially the Earth, is insane for what this could be for the future. I genuinely, I feel like quite prideful of my knowledge of One Punch Man, and like my ability to predict stuff. Like, I feel like I at least get a grip of where the story's going. Not a clue. Not a clue, in the best way. I'm like, I don't have a lot to say about, well, apparently you do, Matt, because you have this much time that you talked about it. But at the same time, it was just great. It was, sorry, it's good chapter overall. It has all the makings of what makes a great One Punch Man chapter. You know, it's got like these stunning moments of action. I think that the vibe, honestly, the action in the last chapter was better because it was just really cool. The whole chase scene was amazingly done. But this one is kind of like a finisher to a fight more than anything, you know. So I'm okay with that. It's like it's that's just my opinion on it though. So as we go, obviously, like, the action's there, the drawing's there, the story's there with the questions, like, Saitama's here, the comedy's here. It's just a brilliant chapter for One Punch Man, but that's in my opinion. I'd like to hear your opinion. What did you think of this chapter? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Maybe because, like, it's going too far from what you originally liked about One Punch Man, and maybe it's changed. Just an idea, if you don't like this. I'd actually like to hear what you think about this. But if you loved it, I'd like to hear that too, because it's an amazing chapter in my opinion. Your thoughts on the chapter, any theories you got, anything like that, that'd be super to know. If you like this review though, give it a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and yeah, thank you very much. I like this series, man, I fucking love this series. Yeah, and then I guess that's how you end it. Cool, bye.